told you that there was something that sounded curiously like a terrorist attack happening in a town outside of Houston, and nobody is talking about it. Oh, and by the way, those potential possible terrorists I just mentioned, I'll give you one guess who let them into the country. Here are the details you need to know. Welcome back to Come and Take It. So there was a story last week that I think was kind of largely underreported that I think that we should be paying attention to and asking a lot more questions about. And by we, I don't just mean the state of Texas. I mean everyone in the entire country, because this particular story has to deal with the issue of immigration, both legal and illegal. And for years, I have been saying this country is going to feel the ramifications of Joe Biden's open borders policy for decades. Even if the Trump administration, and God bless them, they have been so amazing at getting these people out as expediently as possible. I know the latest numbers that I saw from DHS indicated that we have already deported over 2 million illegals who were not supposed to be here.
Pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
But even if President Trump did as much as he could and got rid of as many people as possible, we're not going to get rid of all of them, because the ones who are really, really evil, the ones who are here to cause us harm, are hiding. They're doing it in secret. And we may not know about it. And so the true weight of what he did, of what Joe Biden did by allowing millions of people into our country completely unvetted. Remember, some of them even legal. Some of them he allowed in legally, but he didn't vet them properly. So both legal and illegal, the weight of what he did by allowing these people into our country, including terrorists, including criminals, cannot even be measured right away. It can't even be measured for the next 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 years. Because these people who mean to cause us harm are going to be sitting in this country, plotting methodically, waiting until it makes sense to carry out these terror attacks. There could be a terrorist attack 10, 15 years from now that we will be able to then pinpoint, when did this person get here? Oh, under sleepy Joe Biden's watch. We'll be able to trace it back to Joe Biden's actions. This is a topic that I've talked about for a while here. And when I saw this, it was so weird. I saw this story as almost like a blip, as a story that people, unless they're directly affected by it, they just kind of scroll past. And something about it just stinks. All of it stinks. And so I want to explain to you kind of the overall headline. And then I want to explain to you the evolution that I had with going, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. And I want to hear from you guys in the comments. Let me know. By the way, make sure you're subscribed to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. But let me know in the comments, is it just me? Or are you questioning the narrative on this one too? Okay, here it is. 3 suspects arrested after Houston youth baseball coach shot during pregame prayer with kids. That was the headline. Okay, so when you look into the details of the story, the news articles, it really doesn't give you much of anything except the coach happened to be in the middle of praying with his team before the game. He got shot in the shoulder. Thankfully, he's okay today. And police found the suspects and arrested them. But honestly, it was just like a hunting accident gone wrong, or they were engaging in some sort of target practice without proper backstops. They were 600 yards away, and they just honestly didn't really mean to do anything. They didn't mean to cause any harm.
Right.
Except here's the problem. Here are those men. Ahmad Mawed, Mustafa Mohammed Matalga, and Mahmoud Abdelsalam Rababa. I don't understand why they have to have so many names. I don't understand why they have to be so difficult to pronounce, but here we are, okay? And so I'm looking at these men's pictures, and I'm looking at their names, and I'm like, these are the men who accidentally, oopsies, shot up a baseball field and accidentally hit a man who happened to be praying.
That seems suspicious.
Okay. Then I go looking for more. Well, it turns out that Mustafa here is from Jordan and was granted citizenship by Joe Biden in 2023, despite a prior arrest for drug possession. boy, Sleepy Joe was just letting anyone in. And also on top of that, since we already knew that, on top of that, he was just like rubber stamping the worst criminals and be like, and you get legal citizenship, and you get legal citizenship, and you get legal citizenship. I don't understand how a man who had a prior arrest for drug possession could then be elevated, continue going up the ranks until he gets citizenship. That is crazy.
Okay, that makes no sense.
Ahmad is from Lebanon and received permanent legal status from the Biden regime when he came here on an IR2 visa in 2021. So that particular visa, you can only get if you are a child of a United States citizen. One of your parents has to be a United States citizen. It's unclear which parent this guy's was, who was a citizen, at which point now he's allowed. None of that has been made clear. But you've already got 2 out of 3 men in this particular story who should not have been here anyway, who was fast-tracked by the Biden administration legally. And turned out they weren't they weren't these upstanding young men coming here from these other countries just in search of a better life. Turns out that now they're criminals. So they were all charged with deadly conduct, discharge of a firearm, which is a felony. And we are told that the investigation is ongoing. But I'm just not comfortable with that. And I want to show you, I want you to listen, I want you to watch, and I want you to listen to this video that was captured the moment this is a baseball complex. So there are a bunch of fields. So here is the moment one of these baseball fields caught when these shots started ringing out. I don't know, man. None of this feels like an oopsie to me. Doesn't feel like a target practice or hunting accident or whatever you want to call it. It just seems strange to me that these men are from places that are majority Muslim. These men are from places with, not so great things going. They don't love America. I can put it that way. And these are the guys who just so happened to accidentally shoot this Christian man who was in the middle of a Christian prayer. Really? So at this point, I'm reading this headline and I'm looking at these guys and I'm reading their names and I'm like, I honestly don't care what I get called. I don't care if someone calls me a racist. I don't care if someone calls me Islamophobe, whatever the heck you want to call me. I don't care because this seems really weird. So I start digging more into it. And then I find a report from the Rare Foundation. This is Amy Meck over on X. It's a really good follow. So make sure to follow Amy. She's doing great work. She did a lot of the work uncovering the Epic City, which I talked about not that long ago with the East Plano Islamic Council, who are creating these all Muslim towns, these gated communities where it's just everything that an Islamist could ever want, all in one community, all in gated. And what happens behind the gate, no one probably ever knows. Is Sharia law being implemented there? Probably. We don't know. But they were under fire for, basically soliciting that people from other countries come here and that you needed to be Muslim, and then they scrubbed the website. And so she's done a lot of work on exposing a lot of the dangers of importing Islam into our country. Hello, just go look at the UK if you're wondering what is the problem with that. But so a report from the Rare Foundation, which I will link to in the description of this on YouTube if you're interested, is that one of these men that I just showed you, it's the Lebanese man, Ahmad Mawed, has ties to a mosque called Mosque Katy, M-A-S, Mosque Katy. And he follows the mosque on social media, okay? And what we know from this reporting is that he has at least one photo linking him to being at one of the mosque's celebrations earlier this year. So in 2025, he's taking a picture outside the mosque at one of their Muslim holidays. Now, it's like you would say, oh, it's just a mosque. Who cares? Of course, if he's Muslim, he's going to go to a mosque. Well, this isn't just any mosque. This mosque actually has ties to, I mentioned MAS Katy, Mosque Katy. It stands for Muslim American Society, MAS, which has been described by federal prosecutors as an overt arm of the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, for those of you who don't know about the Muslim Brotherhood has already been designated a terrorist organization in several regions, including UAE, Russia, Egypt, and I could go down the line. And its founder believed in political violence. Oh, by the way, Hamas, Hamas, the group that is responsible for the murder, the rape, the just heinous, disgusting, inhumane acts of women and children in Israel. The Hamas is a branch. It's like an offshoot of Muslim Brotherhood. It's one of the offshoots of Muslim Brotherhood. Just so you know who we're dealing with now, okay? So the mosque has ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. Seems a little strange. From the Rare report here, I'm going to read it to you. One of Mosque Katy's most prominent leaders, Main Al-Quda, is a self-admitted former member of the Muslim Brotherhood in Jordan. In his own words, he once advocated for the imposition of Islamic law instead of secular law. Uh-oh. Sure. So one of the guys who leads the mosque has advocated for Sharia law, Islamic law, instead of secular law. That's not good. Today, Al-Quda remains an influential voice at Mosque Katy, where his hardline Sharia adherent views continue to shape the mosque's teachings. He has also issued Sharia rulings declaring that women may not engage in public speaking and that girls should be forced to wear the hijab beginning at the age of 7. And by the way, just to add insult to injury, during the COVID pandemic, this mosque went so far as to restrict only women and children from attending services. So they were the only ones who couldn't attend because they're inferior, because they're lesser than. But, it's curious. I mean, this is a leader in their church, so to speak. Not a church in my opinion, but this is a leader who is saying, yeah, I was part of the Muslim Brotherhood. And by the way, I think that we should have Sharia law rather than, the good old Constitution. I don't believe in your good old Constitution. I believe in my law. I believe in my holy book. A holy book, which, by the way, remember, their holy book. I mean, we talk about freedom of religion in this country. And I have to tell you, I don't take that lightly.
News and analysis on what's happening in Texas. End your day with daily headlines from Texas Scorecard. Every day at 5 p.m., join me, Brandon Waltons, as we recap the biggest stories of the day and talk about why they matter to you. From the state capitol to town hall, there's no shortage of events happening. Keep up with it all. Watch and subscribe to Daily Headlines from Texas Scorecard.
But I also believe that when the founding fathers were writing our founding principles, we're writing our founding documents, we're talking about, these families, these believers who were not allowed to practice, their Christian religion. I don't believe that they had in mind, oh, by the way, import a bunch of people from another continent, from another region, who actually their entire religion is formulated and instructs them to kill you if you don't believe. I just don't think that I don't blame them. I don't think that they would have had the foresight to think about it in that way. I don't think they realized that this was ever going to be a thing that the United States had to grapple with. But I have to believe that freedom of religion was not written to say we should allow a bunch of people who think that they should kill us if we don't conform to their religion, who believe that the Western world deserves just total death and destruction because it doesn't adhere to your worldview. I just don't believe that that was what freedom of religion was supposed to encompass when it was originally written. So let me give you another mosque leader, okay? Mosque Katy, Imam Ahmad El-Haddad. I don't know why, like, can you just be named John Smith? This is hard for me to say. This one has used the mosque's own platforms to broadcast openly sectarian sermons. In one, he declared, "O believers, take neither Jews nor Christians as guardians. They are guardians of each other. Whoever does so will be counted as one of them. Surely Allah does not guide the wrongdoing people with sickness in their hearts." So this report goes in and documents. Remember, why am I talking about this? Because one of the men who, oopsies, accidentally shot up a baseball field where a coach was praying, where a Christian was praying, total accident, total coincidence. It's just that one of those men that did that have ties to this church where they have sermons and recitations that include verses branding Christians and Jews as disbelievers and warns that their children are, quote, fuel for the fire. They threaten, quote, humiliating punishment and curse Christians and Jews to, quote, hell forever, unquote. This is just, none of this makes sense. I mean, it does make sense if we're not hearing the full story. What makes sense is that we're not hearing the full story. What makes sense is that this was not some sort of an accidental discharge. That's what makes sense to me. Again, you guys let me know in the comments if I'm off base. By the way, the same mosque aligns with CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, which has been identified by federal prosecutors as an unindicted co-conspirator in the Holy Land Foundation terror financing trial. By the way, the national leader of that organization, which this mosque has ties to, said that Hamas's October 7th massacre made him happy. So again, you're telling me that these foreign nationals who came here from places known to hate us, one of whom now we know has ties to a mosque that deals in, they're like loosely affiliated with some little terroristy things. You're telling me that these men just happened to be shooting amongst themselves and accidentally interrupted a Christian prayer. So at best, this is another incident that the Biden regime is responsible for just by way of allowing these men to gain the status, the legal status that they have been able to gain in this country. I mean, because again, at best, he's bringing people into this country who are then going on to commit crimes. That to me, that tells me already you ain't doing the proper vetting, which we already knew. So that's the best case scenario. The best case scenario is that there are hundreds of thousands more of these men who were let in completely unvetted, either legally or illegally, to commit a crime at a later date, at whatever point that is. That's the best case scenario.
That's not good.
At worst, this was a terrorist attack or a run of some sort, a test of some sort that nobody actually wants to talk about. And let me tell you this. Let me just give you this little tidbit. I'm about to blow your mind. I'm going to give you this little tidbit. I'm going to blow your mind, and then we're going to leave it there. Okay, the icing on the cake is that in this Republican state of Texas, with Republican leadership, with a Republican governor and a Republican House, in this Republican state of Texas, explain to me how it's possible that the Texas governor's office, Greg Abbott's office, signed off on this mosque with the extremist ties that I just explained to you from the Rare Report, okay? This mosque with extremist ties receiving nearly $92,000 in taxpayer funds. Explain to me how that's possible. Now, when you look at the grand total of funds that are actually given to extreme Islamists, I guess you could consider the $92,000 a drop in the bucket. Because Middle East Forum ran the numbers. I went down this rabbit hole, guys. I'm reading about this headline. I told you this is the process. I read the headline about this the youth coach that was shot. I look at the guys' names. I look at their mugshots. I'm like, this is weird. I go down the rabbit hole. I find out these ties to this extreme Islamist mosque. I keep going. And then I'm like, oh, uncover this, uncover this. It just keeps getting worse. Middle East Forum ran the numbers. The state of Texas has given over $13 million in federal and state funds to mosques and groups aligned with Islamist movements like Hamas, Muslim Brotherhood, and other hostile foreign regimes. How is that possible? How is it possible that we are talking about things like this in the state of Texas? How is it possible that I did the show a while back on Epic City that was being built, and then all of a sudden, Governor Abbott's like, we're going to stop it. Has it stopped? I don't know. These leaders, they just make these demands. They make these very public statements. Like Greg Abbott said something similar about, these men need to be deported. Get them out of here. Okay, well, like you're funding one of their mosques. You should probably stop that. If you don't want these people with Islamist ties, these Islamic extremists, to come to our state, you probably shouldn't be funding their mosques. I mean, I think if you're funding the things that they're attached to, there is a greater chance that they will come here. So why in the world are we funding $13 million to groups who literally hate us? They want to wipe us off the face of the planet unless we submit to their religion. It's the only religion I know of that's like that, by the way. Again, when we talk about freedom of religion, this is the only religion that is like, we just want to kill you if you don't convert. It's in their books. It's in their teachings. It's what their leaders are telling them. And they don't want to they don't want to like align with the Constitution. They're not like, I don't know. Let's see. What does the First Amendment say about this? They don't care about any of that. They want Sharia law. They will not stop until they get it. Again, newsflash. You want a sneak peek at our future if we don't get a hold of this? Go look at what's happening in the UK literally right now. We're a couple years from that happening if we don't get a handle on it. So we need answers. We should demand better because we deserve better. And we need to demand two things right now. Number one, why in the world is our governor's office giving money to these mosques with extreme Islamist ties? Number two, we need to demand an open and transparent investigation into these criminals. This is Waller County. This is Katy, Texas, outside of Houston. We need to be hearing what stones were left unturned, because none of this makes sense and we can't let it go. If there are terrorists here plotting something, we should know. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. And I'm going to keep an eye on this story. And I know I'm sure the local law enforcement, I'm sure there are a lot of people who would like for it to just like go away quietly into the night. It's not going to. We have to keep an eye on this. With the Muslim pop-up cities that are just appearing in, rural areas of Texas, and this happening. it's now is not the time to let it go quietly into the night. So leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this latest. Am I crazy? Well, the answer could still be yes, Sarah, you're crazy, but also you're not off base on this. Let me know in the comments. I appreciate you guys, and we will see you next time on Come and Take It.